How do you get more focused, especially in this day and age? I believe this is the most important skill that you can learn. Now, as you know, work and life now move faster than ever before. We live in the age of massive distraction. You know, we get seduced by endless voicemail messages and text messages and emails, and we get so caught up in the technology thing, right? So much so that we experience a dissipation of our mental focus. It's like a leaking of our mental and our physical energy. And the bottom line is most people are wasting the most valuable days of their lives on being busy, and distracted. And you know the distractions can create a loss of focus and pull you off course, right? So here's 5 tips to help you become more focused. Okay, number 1, stop multitasking. I know there's this entire myth around multitasking that says that you're just so much more productive if you just do this thing and this thing and this thing and this thing. But let me tell you that the research shows the complete opposite of this. It proves emphatically that you just can't do it, that it's actually just an interruption. In fact, according to the latest data, on an average day, most people spend 3 to 4 hours in distraction mode. And we're either interrupted by someone else, but mostly from our own multitasking and our own thoughts just, running riot in there, right? I want you to listen to this very carefully. There's what's known as a switching cost, where it takes you 10 to 15 minutes just to regain your focus if you switch from one task to another. Think about that. Number 2, train your mind to focus on what you want instead of what you don't want. I know, this sounds pretty obvious, right? But you would not believe the amount of people who just focus on what they don't want, and the amount of people who are complaining, whining, moaning, it's too difficult, and often people are not conscious of this, right? Well, we're in a recession, or it's too much effort, or why does it have to be so hard, or why am I not progressing? You see, the observer effect in quantum physics states that wherever you direct your attention is where you literally place your energy. And as a consequence, you affect the material world, which, by the way, and I'm sure you know this, is made of 99.9% energy. And if you even entertain that idea just for a moment, you might then start to focus continuously on what you want, on the goals that you want to achieve, the life you want to have, the thoughts that make you feel good, instead of the opposite of that, right? Number 3, increase your positive to negative ratio. Most people watching or listening to this will say, hey, I'm a positive person. But let me ask you, how many thoughts are negative and how many are positive in terms of the thoughts that run through your head in a day? Research shows that we need to think much more positively, believe it or not, even so-called positive people. In fact, Barbara Fredrickson, the genius of the positive psychology movement, coined the term the 3-to-1 ratio. So if you want your business or your personal relationships to flourish, then you've got to generate that 3-to-1 ratio of positive thoughts to negative. Now, if you generate less than a 3-to-1 ratio, according to the research now, your efforts are likely to fail. How scary is that? Living a focused life, it requires this higher degree of concentration and even consciousness. Okay, here's even more data for you. John Gottman is one of the foremost relationship experts in the world. I don't know if you've heard of this guy, but he's the author of a book called The 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work. Now, he predicts divorce with a 90+ accuracy, yeah? And John Gottman maintains that the positive relationships that work have a 5-to-1 ratio of positive to negative communication. So it's going to be anywhere between those two bits of data, between a 3 or a 4 or a 5-to-1 ratio that you are going to need to develop. Number 4, be a master of distraction eradication. And that means saying no, for example, to lots of new projects that we get coming at us all the time that are not aligned with your grandest and biggest desires, right? It means saying no to other people's agendas, emergencies where you're putting out fires all the time. It means avoiding aimless activities that cause you to be busy being busy. For example, just surfing the internet, watching mindless videos on YouTube, right? Saying yes to too many new projects, like I just mentioned, even too many social events, bad habits, and you know what they are. People pleasing, doing other people's jobs for them. So you have to be disciplined about setting up a qualification and criteria in your life for what you need to give your attention to. You see, the more successful you become in terms of achievement and fulfillment in your life, the more you're going to have to say no. Now, at the beginning of a goal, a venture, and you're just starting out, with any new opportunity, then, maybe everything is a yes because you're learning and you're growing, you're figuring it out, right? You're trying to make money. But ultimately, you've got to be saying no more gracefully. And conditioning yourself to ignore these unbelievable distractions is how you get your life back. And at all costs, you've got to protect your focus and your mental climate. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. And then number 5 is to have your vision and activators around that vision. So you've got to have anything that reminds you of your exciting vision. But remember, your vision has got to excite you. It's got to be so big and exciting that it literally gives you goosebumps. Because you see, that ties up all of your mind, all of your senses. And when this happens, you activate your subconscious power. And then you now have your connections in the highest of places working for you. It's like your goals become infused with something greater, something extra, and really something more of a spiritual nature, if I may go there. And I find this is the absolute best way to protect your mental climate and to stay laser focused on your goal to the exclusion of the distractions, right? Now, to facilitate this as well, you've got to create empowering environments. For example, is your office an inspirational place that supports the direction you're going in? Is there pictures of where you want to go, like a vision board? Is your home a place that fuels your energy, for example? Because ultimately, you've got to ask yourself as well, is your mind a palace where your vision boldly stands out and inspires you and drives you? Or is it a dungeon of despair where it disempowers you every time that you go there? You've got to think about that. So remember those 5 points. Number 1, stop multitasking. Be aware of the switching cost. Number 2, train your mind to focus on what you want instead of what you don't want. Number 3, increase that positive to negative thinking ratio, anywhere from a 3 or a 4 or a 5-to-1, right? And then finally, be a master of distraction eradication. Okay, you've got to say no, and also you got to have those activators for your big vision. And make sure you keep revisiting that vision over and over again, by the way. Keep sharpening it up. So I hope that helps you in some way. In the meantime, just go out there and just be amazing at what you do. You got to believe that you already have that goal, yet you've already achieved that vision, as if you're already there. It's only a matter of time. And then you'll let the world benefit from your magic. Hey my friend, it's Dave, and I really hope you enjoyed this episode. Do me a favor, be sure to subscribe to this channel so that you continue to get updates every time that I release new training for you. Also, while I have you here, if you'd like to get ahead a little faster in your business, then do visit my website. That's daveoconnoronline.com, and subscribe to my email list. That way you'll get more fresh, in-depth, free, world-class training on mindset and motivation. Thanks so much for tuning in. Until I see you next time, go out there and be absolutely awesome at everything that you do. Bye for now.